are the adventures of Pizza Boy things that you actually went through or things that you hoped you would have done as a child?
Right now, it's all three. I look back towards in my own memories to come up with ideas for Pizza Boy. And so in the first one, there's no conflict that happens to Pizza Boy. He just sees like his classmate is like talking back to one of the counselors behind his or under his breath. And I remember being in elementary school and like we had to freeze and touch our knees, and then this guy didn't hear the bell ring, and so he kept like screaming or he kept talking, and then the counselor came up and like and like she doesn't know how to speak English well, and like she just gets mad. She's like, "Stop talking!" And then the kid's like, "What do you mean stop talking?" And then I was like, Jesus Christ! I put that in the book for Pizza Boy number 1, and Pizza Boy number 2. I remember playing video games with my brother, and so I put that in there. Playing with lightsabers was fun with the markers you put them, and so like I'm drawing influence from my childhood, but also from like dreams. So like there's things that I didn't do, but that I think are cool, like driving, and like I never had a dream where I'm driving like on a racetrack, but that's what happens in Pizza Boy number 1. And then for now, like what you said, like, oh, things that you didn't do or like that you wish you would have done. Eventually, Pizza Boy is in elementary school, but I want to take them through middle school, through high school. The purpose of Pizza Boy through middle school and high school, like those are going to be more rated R, where things get more tough real quick. And
He's gonna be a gang member.
yeah, I'm going to show you guys like how to win in life.
So Pizza Boy will grow with its audience.
Because like I hated seeing things like the Rugrats and they never grew up. Or I hate watching like The Simpsons and they never grew up. Like they just stayed kids. So I'm like, I'm going to make Pizza Boy grow up and like up to the point where he accomplishes his goal, and then the story will end. So it'll have a beginning and an end.
But what if you have an old man that's 70 years old but still acts like a kid, has kid mentality? How are you gonna put that in Pizza Boy?
I'm not going to put that in Pizza Boy. I think children are free because they can imagine, but as soon as they grow up and their environment changes them, then they cannot imagine anymore, and then that's when they become slaves.
Do you think their imagination was taken away?
Yes.
How?
Oh, like for example, in elementary school, when you're like taking a test and your teacher tells you, oh, like put up your folders, like your dividers so your classmates can copy your test. I remember the teacher would even say, don't worry about your neighbor. Like don't help your neighbor. And you do this since like kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade. And so your mind starts to think, oh, I'm not supposed to ask for help, or I can't help my buddies that need help. And it's like me against everybody else. That kind of mentality kills part of the imagination, because you're supposed to ask for help. You're supposed to want to help others. But I think the school education system kills that. If it was for me, I would take it away or replace it with something different.
They're going to be here at the bookstore as well. So, gracias, Jane.
Thank you, Lizette. Yes. Thank you, everyone. Comic book art is more like with the panels and how the things move from scene to scene. And so when you have a character or something and you want something to come to life, you can do pinup art, but to take it to the next level, to make it come to life, you want to do like, panel where like the story comes to life. And so I wanted like, I thought of like, I want something to last more than just the pinup art, because you draw one image, you put it on Instagram, people like it, and then it's only one. But then when you put a story to it, people can get lost more easier into the world, in your world that you make. So I wanted to do that.
Wow.
So what kind of media, are you using? What kind of ink? By computer or
I sketch everything on the iPad, on Procreate.
Yeah.
And then I import that into Photoshop, and then I finish it. I do everything in Photoshop. So rent on something that you never own, like your shelter, your house, or you always have to, in order to get food, you have to pay for it. But with the, how do you get the money? You always have to work for the money. So there's someone making the money. And so you kind of become like a hamster on a wheel. But the way I see it is you can break away from the hamster wheel using your imagination or your free will, but you can't use your free will entirely if you can't imagine, like how, like for example, how would your life look like if you didn't have to work anymore? Like, can you even imagine that? I think most adults can imagine how their lives would look if they were financially free and if they didn't have to work anymore. And if they could imagine that, then how do you get there? How can someone get there where they can spend more time with their family, with their friends, and things that matter versus only going to work every single day? Like I go to work and I have coworkers that are 70 years old, 60 years old, and they're not going to quit. They're not going to retire because they can't. And I'm like, so for me, I thought to myself, oh, that's what Pizza Boy is. The metaphysical manifestation of the imagination of the dream, because Pizza Boy he daydreams a lot. I think in this one, the book starts off and he's playing pretend with his friends. He's playing with like lightsabers. And then a little bit more ahead, and he's pretending he's Wolverine, like he's putting the markers in between his fingers and like suddenly he's Wolverine, or his friend has like puts the markers and he makes a sword and suddenly he's like a warrior. From my point of view, the average adult, they can't do this. And so they get stuck and they become slaves. But back to the metaphysical thing, like Pizza Boy is just that, like the full power of imagination. And that's the goal.
James, I'm gonna sabotage you till my kid gets here. She's on her way.
That's fine with me.
So is Pizza Boy, or is it aimed for children or for adults too?
For both.
Right.
For all people, for all the people.
For artists, artist is a child who survived, so anyone at any age.
Because I thought about that too, like Pizza Boy, I didn't want to put any bad words in Pizza Boy. Even though in elementary school kids say a lot of bad words, I'm like, I'll save that for something else. So I wanted, my target audience is kids, but something that's very weird about material that's made for kids is that sometimes adults are really into it too. So for example, like there's this new show called Bluey, like a little dog, and adults love that stuff. Like it's meant for kids, but like I think teenagers and adults are really into it because I think it's very nostalgic and they miss the childhood. I think in real life, a lot of the times people, they don't have guidance in life. And so they're never told when their childhood ends and when their adulthood starts. And then suddenly you're just found like, you're like 20 years old and you're like, what the hell happened? Like, I don't play anymore. I don't have fun anymore. Like all I do is get drunk, get high and like, what is life? And like they can't play, like they literally can't have fun without drinking.
Sounds like South Park.
Yeah.
I like South Park.
I like South Park too.
I'm really excited to see a young Latino accomplishing his dream, and you're very young, James.
Ooh.
Yes, you're very young for like publishing and going after that dream. You know, that's very courageous. And when I was interviewing him, I was just so touched, you know, by where he says that his art came from, right? And by turning something that was probably like a little sad and dark, and you like when you were talking about how coming back. Oh, did I miss it?
I don't remember.
I didn't miss it. Okay. But you were talking about how you grab these memories and you were looking for something different, different. And I think that it's very creative, very awesome. And I want to see more of Pizza Boy.
Yes.
And we have to get it out there for people to actually know more about it. But I mean, you're cool.
Thank you.
So we're going to do a Q&A, right? And so I'm gonna put you on the spot. James, do you want to grab a chair? I think it's more comfortable, or you want to
I
stand
have a
up?
question. Should we show the video first and then so
I
they
think
have
you
more
should.
questions?
Yes. Let's go ahead and show the video first.